Okay, hello guys and welcome back to my channel. Kujiro from Gaming in Japan here, and today guys I wanted to explain a little bit what was the last FGC related thing that I had to do, why it was so exciting, and why I have to admit to some extent I've been wrong about the fighting game community all along. I've been involved in fighting games pretty much my whole adult life. My first job in the video game circles was in the early 2000s. And from there on, I've pretty much done the majority of things that are available for somebody who deals with video games in my country, except for actual game development and the direct part of a video game sales, like selling games on a counter or something. And one of the main reasons that I had the opportunity and I was blessed to be able to work in video games was in the beginning because of fighting games, but then I had to transition to other video games. And because when you are when you want to work in video games in the beginning and you're not a developer or anything like that, you're searching to be a tournament organizer or to do something else, it's all about numbers of time you can hustle about things. And when you're only limited to what fighting games offer you, and worst off, if people only associate you with fighting games, that means you're missing out on everything that happens with Final Fantasy, everything that happens with Devil May Cry, everything that happens with Souls games, everything that happens with indie games, PC sports, and all of these things. So in a country like mine, where I come from Eastern Europe, like you cannot just do fighting game related things full time, even if you're both competitor and a TO. Okay, so for the longest time, I regretted that I was so highly involved. I was involved in the FGC up until around 2018. I mean, directly involved in the FGC. And then when the pandemic hit and everything, I wanted to like transition full time to other things. And the only thing that I did related to fighting games was that I actually played the games. I thought that was the best possible uh, way for me to proceed and not lose any rhythm and things like that. But a couple weeks ago, when I made my last video, I had the opportunity to actually organize an event in my country for Tekken 8. And it was because we had a very special guest in my country. That was the super famous French superstar of fighting games. Kayane herself came to our country, and I had the opportunity to create a tournament in which she participated, and then we had a show match, me and her. And I'm gonna make a separate video about that, but I was successful in the show match. I'm not gonna. Uh, Here is a picture of the top three guys together with a certain potato that you can see there in the left part of the screen. There is Kayana in the center. The tallest guy that is near the French like a poster uh, was the guy that became second. He plays Kazooie. He's very good. And yeah, here is Kayana again. There was a panel with females in the video game industry. There she is again speaking on the panel. And here we played our show match. Points of respect if you can guess who is the Fenway customized character that I played in this match, and I played other customized characters in other matches, but I was playing Kayana here in my country. I organized the whole event. I was organizer of the brackets. I was a caster, and I was to some extent a technical organizer, and I was the one who had to um, welcome special guests. So, for example, the national volleyball chairman came to the event to watch, and he was talking to us about video games and what he plays and stuff like that. There was a Tokyo Olympic champion that came also to the event. She played with Kayane, and it was a lot of fun. And to my surprise, I was a little bit concerned because I was actually organizing live events. I was doing all the things online mostly when I had, or I was like supporting tournament organizers by providing them information or access to certain video games. That's part of my job also. But I was fearing that I had lost like rhythm and step, and no, I actually haven't lost anything. Haven't lost a step in any way. I did everything almost perfectly on my end. I was able to prepare to actually play Kaya in the show match, which was the main reason um, that I wanted to make the event, because that's the second time in my fighting game history in which I had the opportunity to play a famous person from France. The other time I had this opportunity was in an online tournament for Street Fighter 4, in which I played and defeated a person who eventually became a European champion. I'm not gonna say his name because people are gonna want receipts, and it was a long time ago. It's gonna be very hard to provide them. But I look, guys. I know that Kayana is awesome. Like, she's a very good professional. She speaks about video games as a true ambassador. She can speak to both people who understand and don't understand video games and fighting games and esports. Um, but she's mainly known for Soul Calibur. I talked with her about that. And now she plays Tekken. She's a serious competitor in Tekken, but she's not like Jot, or because she plays Xiaoyu, she's not like Yoretz or Mr. Croft or any, or Yu or any of these like high caliber players. I think. By the way, I have a side question here. Is Peeling from US still play Tekken and play Xiaoyu? I haven't seen him recently, so I don't really know. Wanted to ask you about that. And yeah, I know that she's probably not the best player from France. I'm gonna guess it's between anywhere. I think Jod is the best personally, but of course there's Super Kuma. There is other players that are probably less known, but Jod is very good. I think Jod is a phenomenal player. And Kayan probably not the best Tekken player from France, but she's very good, and I figure out she's around my level of capabilities. Although I don't replay rank, I played Tekken since Tekken 3. I haven't played Tekken every day all day, but I have won multiple tournaments in my country. I organized multiple tournaments in my country throughout my years, and I stopped competing around Tekken Tag Tournament 2 time. But for this event, I prepared, and I was successful in the show match. Currently, right now, at the time I'm recording the video, I'm playing way better than I'm way better player than it appears in my show match. Believe me. But the main reason for me to record and talk to you about this is because the reasons I wanted to get away from fighting games, I think, was wrong all along. I was a little bit salty that I have lost a lot of like time and efforts uh just to be seen and be able to hustle gigs in the video game industry, and I ended up being associated mainly with fighting games, not just street. I can say I was a successful because I was associated with Mortal Kombat, Tekken, and Street Fighter, and everything else under the sun in terms of fighting games. But for example, when I was in television as a TV host, and uh, when we had like conversation about video games, I noticed that like whenever there is talks about Devil May Cry or Final Fantasy or something like that, like people kind of like ignore my opinions about certain stuff. And I'm like, guys, I have cleared the majority of Devil May Cry games with on Dante Must Die difficulty, S ranks, everything. Like I have 5,000 hours in Dark Souls 2. Like come on. But like I wasn't like salty outspokenly like that, but it was something that I sensed that it became a problem, and I spent a lot of time moving away image wise from fighting games. um I built a reputation in the Souls games communities, and that is one of the reasons that I have my current job that is right now, that involves video game communities. But after conducting this event in the French Center in my country, I felt like I was salty about the fighting game community for the wrong reasons. There is nothing wrong with the fighting game community overall. I mean, there are a lot of drama and stupid problems and stuff like that. There is also the problems with the actual games that people tend to blow out of proportion a little bit. Um, However, like moving completely away from fighting games and being like holding a grudge, not to any actual person, but to the time that you have invested in fighting games, is I think is also wrong. There is a balanced way to do things. Um, Playing multiple fighting games and being a tournament organizer is probably the hardest thing. And when you have to do other things as well in other parts of the video game industry. But yeah, I really felt that whatever I do in the future, the fighting game community is probably going to be a part of my life uh, for the rest of my time on this earth. And I was really grateful. I was really grateful that I had the opportunity to organize a live event with all the intricacies around it. Um, I was worrying that I had lost the rhythm and sense of one of the what is one of the hardest things in when you have to organize live events in the FGCs. What is the correct priority and order of doing things? So, for example, if somebody is late for their pool play or for their match with somebody, and then you have a technical problem with one of the TVs and one of the PlayStations. We had a technical problem with one of the TVs there. Like, what is the problem that you have to tackle first? Like, ha- having the knowledge about these things is really something that you only build with practice. But I haven't lost any step in rhythm. The only I think mistake that I made that was nobody noticed that, but I noticed it for myself. I always keep some kind of a. I run the whole brackets through my phone online, but what I usually do, I always keep a hard copy of the brackets and the wins on a clipboard or something, and I update the clipboard whenever I can, whenever there is a downtime or when I have to um, cast and have a pause in between matches and stuff like that. But for this event, at certain point I just dropped the hard copy, and that's a mistake. You always need to have a hard copy of your brackets, guys. Anything can happen. The internet may break down, or like there are a lot of, like it's always better to have a hard copy of your brackets and a hard copy of what's going on at the tournament, and hard copy of also the contact list for players. And I used to for the longest time I used to only do things on hard copies and physical on the like a physical carrier, and other people I have like relate to on other people to update the brackets online. But for this event I had to do everything uh, personally, both brackets and casting. There was not a lot of people uh, participating in the tournament. So yes, I was able to combine that, but normally it's not a one-man job to do that. Um, but overall, I was very surprised and happy with my performance. I was able to keep high level of concentration. I was also able to find time to prepare for the actual match to learn the matchup against Xiao Yu. And after everything, I felt like I really missed the FGC, missed the live FGC events, like talking to people about fighting games, joking around with people about stupid stuff about what is OP, what is not OP, like uh the certain instances in which this is one of the best, most fun things that happen in the FGC is when people who are friends with each other like are trolling, and for everybody else outside it looks like they really hate each other, but it's really a friendly action. So we, in one of our matches, we had somebody who was like keep charging all the time at the end of the round, but nobody took this the wrong way. Like the other person was not agitated or something. He charged back. In certain instances it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun casting also, although some of the terminology that I use is, I think, a little bit outdated. I don't know certain things about certain characters. I don't know how the correct Tekken 8 name of the move is called. Personally, in my style, I don't call every tripping sweep a hell sweep. For example, I call Brian Snake Edge a snake edge. A loss down back four I call like Dragon Tail, as it's supposed to be called. And I call the hell sweep a hell sweep. I don't call everything a hell sweep, right? So yeah, it was a lot of fun, guys. I think if you're involved in fighting games and you want to have a career in the video game industry, just try to have a balance in how you leverage your fighting games competence in terms of either being a player or being a commentator or being a organizer or somebody behind the scenes. Like, gigs about fighting games don't come around very often. Yeah, of course, it's heavily country dependable. Like, it's certain country, like if in the US there are probably a lot more opportunities, but there are also a lot more established people there. But in smaller countries there probably are less opportunities, so you have to balance things that you do about fighting games and things that you do about other video games, and how you build your image of somebody who is competent in multiple video games. This is very important, but completely shutting down and dropping away from the FGC is also a wrong thing to do, because there is no other community like the fighting game community. I think I'm involved. Part of my job is to be involved with multiple video game communities in my countries and other countries as well. But if I have to compare the fighting game community to the Souls community, it's very different. Like, there isn't, like in the fighting game community, for example, people have a very clear and direct way of talking when it comes to who has the bragging rights and competence to tell you what is true and what is not true about what is powerful or not powerful in fighting games. Whereas in the Souls communities, for example, like people mix casual opinions about the game with hardcore opinions. So for example, what works in a single playthrough as opposed to a speed run, as opposed to PvP. Like, sometimes people talk about these things interchangeably. And that is because, like, uh, a Souls community in a country, or I don't know, like, there are different types of Souls communities, there are different type of Souls communities in different countries, but usually what happens is that, like, the PvP, the PvE, and the lore and the casual sides, everything is combined pretty much. Whereas in the fighting community, people very rarely talk about lore, and whenever they talk about lore, they, like, it's clear from the context that has nothing to do with how powerful a character is or it isn't. It's hard to explain, but it's a real thing. It's a uh, thing that you're going to notice if you're involved in multiple communities like I am, and you are going to clearly notice how the fighting game community is truly unique compared to everything, compared to CS, compared to like Dota and other games like that. So yeah, I'm glad I had an opportunity to run an event again, and I'm happy that I had the chance to like play with people on a higher level. I'm glad that I haven't lost my ability to play Tekken competently. I'm not like the best player or anything, but I'm way above average Fenway player for sure, and I have a lot of experience. And moving forward, I'm going to be way more lenient and way more. I'm gonna try and do way more efforts in the fighting games, particularly because I'll have the opportunity to do something very special in the near future. I'm gonna make a video about that next week, but I'm gonna be in position to do some really impactful, important things for a lot of people in my part of the world, in the whole EMEA region. And I'm going to talk to you about that a little bit later in a different video. But for now, like let me know what you think about the FGC in 2024, guys. Let me know if you are somebody who was a veteran in the FGC but had to move away for reasons, and what were these reasons. And I'll be happy to read and react to your comments. Also, my next video on subject will be me commentating my own show match with Kayane in Tekken 8. And I'm gonna start streaming Tekken 8 at some point. I haven't played rank match a lot, so I'm gonna try and level up there a little bit. And I know pretty much everything about Fenway in this game. I've been playing Fenway since Tekken 5 pretty much. I used to play Asuka, but I dropped Asuka because she's very like she is being changed a lot. But yeah, guys, I love the FGC. There are a lot of FGC things to talk about, and truly like be appreciative of how cool fighting games are, no matter what types of genre you play, or how many drama you hear on Twitter from like Arturo Sanchez for things about the non-stop drama about infiltration, and the recent things about Sparking Zero and stuff like that. There is a lot of drama, but there is also a vast amount of very cool people, and you're gonna have a very good time in the FGC no matter who you are. Okay? Just have an open mind and don't drop fighting games in the fighting game community for uh, a reason that is not clear for you, not very important. Okay, this is also for this video, guys. Thank you so much. Thanks for listening to my long explanation and the rant, maybe. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. And again, if you have anything to say about your experience in the NGC, I would love to hear your comments down below. Thank you. I'll see you in the next video, guys. Peace.